So in this video, I'm going to talk about my primary advice that I give to folks or would give to folks who are looking to attend SFAS, Ranger School, or even the kids out there that are looking at enlisting or commissioning that are still in school. So I have people approach me all the time online, send me questions asking about their training, where they're at, what they should be doing. So we're going to sum this up. We're going to say don't play to your strengths, but train to your weaknesses, right? So to be successful at a school like Special Forces Assessment and Selection, or to excel in the military, you need to be well-rounded, especially from a physical fitness standpoint, right? That makes you the most capable version of yourself. As a warrior, you need to be capable and you need to be ready to adapt, especially in special operations. And so being well-rounded places you in the best position to adapt to various situations or stimuli, things that you might run into. So how do we become more well-rounded? Well, we don't train to our strengths, right? We need to bring up our weaknesses. We need to identify those weaknesses, which is step number one, and I'm going to talk about that next. And then we need to prioritize those weaknesses and train them up, right? That is the only way to truly round out the package that you're bringing to SFAS, to Ranger School, to the military, is by bringing up your weaknesses. Now, at a place like Special Forces Assessment and Selection, where the cadre's only job, day in and day out, what they thrive on, what they're looking to do is stress you out until your weaknesses shine through, right? They don't care about the studs out there crushing the run or the strong guys, right? They want to find your weakness. They don't care about your strengths. They're not looking at your strengths. They're trying to stress you mentally and physically so that your weaknesses come to the surface. Then they want to press into those weaknesses, right? And so when you are looking at training up for a school like this or an event like this or the military, if you train your strengths, if you prioritize your strengths and you spend resources on your strengths, it only exacerbates your weakness. It only increases the distance between the things you're good at and the things you're not good at. And in an environment like SFAS, where they are looking for those things you're not good at, those are gonna come out. You can't hide it, you can't fake it. They're gonna reveal those weaknesses. Then you need to train those up. So to start this, we're going to list our strengths. This part should be pretty easy. Identify them. Write a list. Maybe you're a good runner. Maybe you grew up running track or cross country. Maybe you're really flexible. Maybe you're great at deadlifting, so you have a strong back and a strong grip. Good. It's useful at selection, right? Maybe you're in shape physically. Maybe you don't have extra fat that you carry around. These are all good things. Identify your strengths, right? Maybe you know how to tie a bunch of knots. Roger that. But look, your proficiencies require less resources to maintain than your inadequacies require to improve. So maintain your strengths, but don't prioritize them. All right, so I'm going to say that again. Your proficiencies require less resources to maintain. It's easier to maintain the things that you're good at. You don't have to put as much time, effort, or energy into them. When you're proficient at them, you can maintain that with less resources, which is crucial in training because we only have so many resources, right? So the second part of that, your inadequacies are going to require more resources to improve. So you can't prioritize the things you're good at because that will sacrifice the resources you have available to the things you're bad at. So we need to prioritize our weaknesses, and that leads us to the second list. So we're going to make another list. Now, this list, this is what you will prioritize in training. This is your weaknesses, all right? So maybe you're a bad runner. Maybe you can't run more than 2 miles without running out of wind in your sails. Maybe physically, you're not very strong and you don't have a lot of muscle on your body. Maybe you grew up as a runner. Maybe you're that cross-country athlete and you're smaller. You have strengths, you have conditioning to spare, but you need to build muscle mass on your body. You need to build strength. Maybe you're inflexible. Maybe you can't even touch your toes. That makes you a liability. Mobility is very key to being resilient physically and avoiding injury, being more capable, right? And maybe you have extra weight on your body. When you get into special operations, you're already going to carry extra weight. You got batteries, ammo, explosives, weapons. You're going to be humping a lot, right? You can't hump more of your own fat ass. You need to lose that. Guys, if you're at 30% body fat or above, get that number down to 20. Get to 20. We don't need 7% shredded bodybuilder looking dudes on teams, but what we do need is people that are not carrying around extra weight so that they stay healthier and they are more capable. Then they can physically and metaphorically carry more of the weight of the team. Maybe you drink alcohol regularly. I'm not going into it in this video, but that is the easiest thing to do to have the largest, most negative effects on your body, your performance, and yourself. So Identify these shortcomings. Make your list. If you struggle to make this list, I want you to note that, because that could be a potential red flag. In special operations and even at SFAS, they're looking for guys who know what they don't know. And if you want to be an operator one day or operate at a high level or excel in the military, you need to be comfortable with saying, I don't know, but I'll find out. Or saying, I need help because I don't have this now, but I want to get it, right? You need to be able to admit what you don't know. So if you struggle with taking a look in the mirror and identifying your own weaknesses, it's a red flag. You can work on that. It's good though. That's your first weakness, is I'm bad at identifying my weaknesses, or I have a big ego, right? Put that at the top of the list. If you need help, ask someone else, ask your parents, ask your partner, ask a close friend. Hey, what are the weaknesses that I have? We're looking for physical things here in training, but also this is a really good exercise. If you are that type of person that struggles identifying your own weaknesses, this can help you, and you should then ask for help, ask other people's opinions of where your shortcomings might be, so that you can work on those rough edges. Because just like we need to bring a well-rounded fitness into a school like SFAS, we need to bring a well-rounded personality into a school like SFAS. And any guy with the green hat on their head will tell you that the latter is more important than the former. So if your personality sucks, you're not going to make it happen. Okay, now, wrapping this up, you're going to list those weaknesses. You're going to take the list of those weaknesses, and we're going to boil it down to 3. We're going to take the top 3. So the 3 largest drag on your performance, or where your biggest weaknesses are. What is really holding you back? What is the biggest struggle you've had? You're going to choose the top 3, and then within those 3, we're going to order them. Number 1 is the biggest one. What makes you the most liability? What is the biggest liability you possess or that you bring? What is the biggest weakness? That's number 1. Number 2, just below that, and then number 3 rounds out the podium, the third most potent or negative weakness that you have that's affecting you. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to start one at a time. So looking at number 1, and we're going to work on that for at least a month, probably a couple months, and we're going to keep working on it longer. But only number 1. We're not going to try to bring all 3 of these things up at once. We're going to focus on that biggest negative. We are immediately going to prioritize that weakness. And only that weakness will be, that's what priority is, right? We're not trying to do a little bit extra stuff here. Prioritize it. Be methodical. Use your calendar. Ask for help. Set alarms. Attack this weakness with conviction, with urgency. Round yourself out. After a couple months, you can add number 2 in there. You're going to keep working on number 1, especially for physical stuff. You're not going to round yourself out in a couple months. This is why it's important to get this stuff started as soon as possible. If you're even considering attending SFAS, going to Ranger School, becoming special operations, you want to get at this now. So after a few months working on number 1, you can bring in number 2. Then spend another few months just focusing on number 1 and number 2 before you bring in number 3. At this point, you should be 6 months, 9 months, a year into this. And if you are making progress on 3 of your weaknesses, you're now a much more well-rounded warrior. And you're going to bring a lot more to the table, a lot more to SFAS, and increase your chances. Don't get distracted or caught up in the idea that you have to do a whole bunch of things at once. That really is not effective in training, and that's why it's important that you focus on the first thing first, and then with some time and progress, hopefully, right, some observed progress there, then you bring in number 2, start working on that for a while, then you bring in number 3, and you're working on all 3 of those things. So I'm going to say this again to wrap this video up. Your proficiencies require less resources to maintain than your inadequacies require to improve. So maintain your strengths, but don't prioritize them. Prioritize your weaknesses in training. And if you need anything, hit me up. This is what I do. I teach men nutrition mastery online. I build strong and durable professionals. My name is Steven. I'm a former 18 Charlie Special Forces engineer. And I have clients who are trying to get into the military, trying to get into SFAS, want to go into special operations. And so I help and advise, mentor, and train those men as I can. So if you have questions, I'm an open book. Hope this video is helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next one.